Hey, welcome to another Chick Wrestling Podcast. All three of us are quarantined, I think, in our homes. I'm your host, Curtis, coming to you here in the Press, South Florida. On the line, of course, U.S. Savants, Mike the Squid, Brodie. What's up, Mikey?
Are we allowed to call it North Cuba now?
Why North Cuba?
I mean, Cuba's really like the only place that doesn't have a lot of coronavirus outbreaks. Can we call
that
it?
Is true.
It North Cuba?
That is true.
It's not too big in like Africa either, for the record. Which I'm
we're not
saying.
close to Africa.
I'm not saying it's a white virus, but
you're saying it's a white virus.
I mean,
it is the It is the
look at the numbers
of viruses.
Look at this. Might be white comeuppance. I'm just putting that out there.
It's the white people virus.
Goddamn whiteys.
Damn honkies. And of course,
the only black celebrity that's come out with it so far is Idris Elba, and let's be honest.
Honest, but what?
Sure.
He's basically as white as Tiger Woods.
Jesus! Of course,
Tiger in the woods.
Hey Joe, you should go on Twitter and write that. Oh no, I forgot. Joe Lopez.
No, not gonna have it.
You know what? I'll go write it on the page's website as well as my cocaine joke, and we'll just get all the hits.
Hey man, speaking of Twitter, follow us on Twitter, of course, at Take3 Wrestling on Twitter.
Yes.
There. Mike's on Twitter, of course, at They Call Me Bern, BERN. I'm on Twitter at TJ37. Joe is on Twitter, but wants you to know where he is. Burner accounts. So we have only one news dump I want to dive into today for this week, and that's surrounding WrestleMania 36. First off, it will be.
I thought we were going to talk about the other one, or was I not paying attention during the pre-show?
What is that?
Braun Strowman supposedly being a dick.
Oh, you want to?
I don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, that conversation actually got boring. I think the text exchange to you two was probably as good as it's gonna get. To be honest with you, you guys went in on that.
I don't want to talk about that.
But I mean, we didn't even really go that hard in that conversation.
No, I know, but I don't want to call Braun Strowman an asshole, so I'd rather just not have that conversation.
He might find you.
Yeah, I don't want to get those hands, especially not during coronavirus season. That's how you get sick.
Don't worry, he'll wear a glove.
That's true. Anyway, WrestleMania 36. We got reports today, actually, that it's going to be a taped event, and they're taping it this week. Number one. Number two, it's a 2-day event, hosted by none other than Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski. Also, no Battle Royal this year. I'm sure you guys aren't really too mad about that.
I call that.
I guess Ernest Mania is going to be a failure because I had Sheamus win the Battle Royal, but whatever. Anyway.
I'm just saying, the other day, I was like, y'all know the Battle Royals aren't going to happen, right? And you guys were like, nah, they'll find a way around it. Well, find a way around this. No, it didn't happen.
Quit bragging, Joe.
I mean, during the middle of the coronavirus, R-Truth won the 24/7 title from Rick Moss by jumping out of a trunk.
I did see that on the WWE Instagram page. Let's start first.
But that didn't involve 11 people.
That's
true.
It
did involve close contact.
Oh my God.
Is there video yet for that? I saw the still shots. I didn't see the video.
Yeah, it's posted.
Okay. Let's start here first. WrestleMania 36, taped event, obviously. Taped this week. Now, WrestleMania is still 2 weeks away. What are the odds of this results getting leaked out between now and April 4th and 5th?
If it gets leaked out now, somebody's losing their job.
I'm sure he has guys who's signing NDAs. Not to say a fucking thing for 2 weeks.
I mean, unless somebody computer hacks and gets into the thing and steals the video, I don't think it's gonna work that way.
Yeah, because don't forget, these are all closed sets. I mean, they're literally only going to be essential people there. I bet it's even like no one else is going to know the results of each match other than the participants in the actual match. So if anything actually gets out, I mean, it's going to be a short list of suspects.
Yeah, and you know what? Vince might fire all of them just because.
Because he can. You're fired.
He might just go cough on them. I mean, he's 89 years old. He probably has coronavirus.
Oh, man.
Jesus, put that out there.
God, you trying to kill people tonight, Joe?
Dude,
God
Joe,
damn,
you
you're
were old today, brother. Yeah, I unfortunately, I don't see this thing being buttoned up. I think someone's gonna leak it out. I think if anything, Meltzer might come in. I'm sure he won't be there, but I'm sure he'll find a way to put something out there in the next 2 weeks. At least lie about it. I don't know, man. I have a hard time in today's climate, people staying buttoned up, with this shit for 2 weeks. I have a hard time. I hope they keep buttoned up because I want to approach this as though it's fresh to us. But
look, if this was any other circumstance, I would agree with you 100%. I don't think people do well at keeping secrets, but I don't think The Undertaker is telling Dave Meltzer what happens with his match against AJ Styles.
He might because they didn't add Michelle McCool to that list right away.
Right. Like, okay, maybe I'll give it to you. But I'm just saying, like, because honestly, the smart way to do it, too, if you really want to minimize your odds of any kind of spoilers coming out, is you literally don't tell any of the talents what the results of any of the matches are other than the match that they're involved in. So, like, it's not even like disgruntled Mark Callis can call Dave Meltzer and be like, yo, but Roman Reigns is going to win the world title. You know what I mean? Like, keep it. Like, he only knows that he's going to beat AJ Styles or something like that. And I'm just saying, like, I get it. I know Dave Meltzer wants the information. I know he's banging down the doors. He's begging. He's just like, who can I fillet to just get these spoilers and to know and put it out there? But you know what? Sometimes sucking dick is not enough. And as a gay man, it makes me sad to admit that. But it's the goddamn honest truth. Now let's do some hot takes.
Hey, Mike, Joe's on a roll today, man.
Can we talk about one more thing before we move on?
This is the only thing we have right now. Is this? So go ahead.
AEW canceled Blood and Guts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yes,
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. They canceled Blood and Guts. Now AEW Dynamite will air this week. And by the way, that was actually the thing I had on here. Actually, accidentally erased Joe. That was it. The Blood and Guts news.
What can I say?
Oh, right.
You're welcome.
That's right.
So wait, what do you guys think of that, though?
I think, honestly, I like the fact that they rather do that with the crowd and all that. I respect it. I mean, it's their decision. I don't know what else to say. Honestly, I respect it though.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think they could have pulled it off to be just as entertaining.
I think because it's the first War Games type match, and
I can't believe it's not War Games.
It's the like what's the knockoff brand of something?
That's what I'm saying. I've been calling it. I can't believe it's not War Games. Like I can't believe it's not butter.
I get it. Yeah, that's good.
Do you like the name Blood and Guts though? I don't know. It's kind of
I mean, it is what it is.
It's almost as corny as probably War Games was in like the 1980s whenever they came up with it.
Right.
Really? I don't know. I always thought War Games was a good name, actually. Even back in 90.
War Games is a good name. But also, War Games is a lot different than the shit that WWE's putting out right now. There wasn't pinfalls in War Games. There was a roof. There was a roof on War Games.
That's right.
I will say that also, too, remember, War Games was probably named after that Matthew Broderick film from 1983. So really, it's like if AEW came to us now and was like, next Tuesday we present 2 rings. AEW presents Hobbs and Shaw. Like, that would be the equivalent, really, if they do that now. So they're probably not going to do that.
Look at Joe flexing his movie muscles now.
We ran into a wheelhouse that resides in Casa de Lopez.
Oh, yes. I know. Him and I have had text before a couple months ago about this shit.
Yes.
That Mike got pissed off. Like, what the fuck, dude? 89 texts.
Woke up to 67 messages about the Oscars.
Yeah, we're talking about the Oscars.
Doesn't give 2 shits about the Oscars.
That's right.
The Oscars are the NBA All-Star of award ceremonies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the thing was, I was actually trying to do an Oscars podcast a couple months ago, and I was trying to pick Joe's brain a little bit, and that didn't go through because I didn't have time to push all the movies. So.
Doesn't help because the Oscars are fucking trash.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Good. Glad we had that talk.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the takes. Should I go first?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. My take is actually interesting because this week in AEW Dynamite, we had 2 major debuts from two guys. former WWE guys. Matt Hardy, of course, at the end of the telecast, which is the big one. And Brodie Lee debuted also on Dynamite. And it got me thinking because I was actually watching. This is the first AEW show I think I've watched live. Right on in real time since the debut. I typically watch AEW Dynamite the day after it comes on. But since obviously we're all stuck in our house now,
Not doing anything
to do, so fuck it. I watched it live. So I was trying to watch all the reactions in real time, and it was interesting too. So it got me thinking. Obviously, Matt Hardy's the bigger name because he's obviously been wrestling for almost 30 years and all that. But which guy do you think, big picture for the company, will be the more impactful wrestler of the two? Now, Matt Hardy is a bigger name, in my opinion. But I think Brodie Lee, debuting with the reporter and all that, I personally think Brodie Lee will actually have a larger impact moving forward, just because of the character and just obviously the fit. And to me, I look at him, he looks like an AEW wrestler to me. Like, let's look at him right now. If I didn't know who he was at any point, I'm like, oh, that guy fits AEW. And to me, it's Brodie Lee easily, for me personally. There's nothing to do with Matt Hardy's history and all that, but I think Brodie Lee, bigger picture, has a better chance to have more bigger impact on the company going forward. Is that alcohol?
No,
What?
that's not alcohol. I know what that is. Joe's taking bong rips mid-show. I love it.
What is it?
He's taking bong rips mid-show.
That's strong.
It was the fucking dog.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
All
wait.
right.
So who wants to answer first? Mike. I think that's you.
Michael's coming last, but Michael's coming with a fucking shot.
I can go first. Wait, I'm ready. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
I can go.
Go ahead, Joe.
All right. I'm going to tell you the answer to this question. All right?
Go ahead.
Okay? Get ready. You're going to get learned, okay? It's going to happen right now.
I'm sitting down waiting to be learned.
Okay. The answer to this question is long term. The answer to this question is not the question that you're asking. Because it's not about which one of these guys is going to have a bigger impact long term. It's about whether or not they're going to be able to save Brodie Lee's career in AEW from the way that they've debuted him. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. They've basically blown it. Okay?
Whoa.
I'm putting that out there. They have put him with the lamest team possible. They put him in a position where they've acted like he's this big important person that everyone knows. When really, I'm sorry, but a lot of people probably don't actually know him. Was he on TV for WWE for a long time? Yes. Okay. Was he in a dominant role? Not really. Has he been on TV recently? Hell no. At least Matt Hardy was on TV on Raw 2 weeks ago. You know, anyone that pays attention to WWE certainly knows who Matt Hardy is. Matt Hardy will always be the bigger name. And the truth is, the way that they've debuted Matt Hardy, they've already set him forward where he could very easily be in the world title scene and be very believable in that role. He's definitely probably going to end up feuding with Jericho next. I think there's a lot of stuff you can do with Matt Hardy. And he also, as a creative mind, honestly, you can get so much out of him. Like, not even just him on screen. You can get so much out of him behind the scenes. I really think Brodie Lee, I think that this character is going to hurt his push. Because I'm sorry, but the Dark Order sucks. It still comes across as lame.
Mike.
There's nothing about it in the last couple of weeks that has got it any better. And I love Brodie Lee, but like I said, like, look, put it like this, okay? Think about back in the day. When WCW stole someone from WWF and then debuted them, it was like, oh shit, what's Randy Savage doing here? What's Lex Luger doing here? These were big names. This is more the equivalent of like WCW was like, oh shit, what's Skinner doing here?
Wow.
Oh shit, Nails. Like, this is what this is. Like, Brodie Lee, I love Brodie Lee. I want to see him become a huge star in AEW. But let's not act like he was already, like, a former 3-time world champion.
Right.
Like, you got away with that with Chris Jericho. You got away with that with Jon Moxley. These were legitimate. You don't get away with that with every single guy just because they used to be in WWE.
I will say this much real quick. What you're saying is true. Obviously, the name value is different.
Well, duh, I said it.
No, however, I am trusting the fact that AEW does this correctly. They've done this very well since October. getting these stars over, getting these guys you may not know who they are over. You know what I mean? I didn't know who Hangman Page was until October last year. All these
Right,
names.
but
So,
they didn't start the company being like, you should know who Hangman Page is. Like, they basically, the only reason why you have the announcers react and be like, oh my god, that's Brodie Lee, is because you're supposed to know who the hell Brodie Lee is. But I'm telling you, not everyone knows who the hell he is, and the people that do remember him, that don't know him fondly, like, say, Mike and I do from, like, the independent scene, are probably just like, oh, who's that? Oh, half of the, like, guys that, like, cosplayed Viking Raiders before the Viking Raiders and, like, lost, like, half the time he was on TV. I remember that dude.
mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm supposed to be impressed that now he's fucking leading the fucking Super Smash Brothers?
So
Give me a break!
So you think basically that because him being touched the Dark Order is going to hurt him, or the Dork Order,
Yes.
as your boy Cornette calls it?
Yes.
Okay.
You know how you don't hurt someone? You pair him with Jake Roberts. Nobody's going to not get over being paired with Jake Roberts. You want to hurt someone? You make them lead a fucking team of midgets that, like, are what real seriously the stupidest part of AEW at this point. And that's only because they got rid of the other dark stuff.
Oh, yeah,
with
the
Brandy.
Nightmare Collective, yeah.
Yeah.
Mikey.
Okay, first off, I'm going to apologize in advance because I didn't start a clock.
It's okay, I got one going here.
Let's just
I'm
assume
doing
I'm
about-
sucking for 10 minutes.
We got about 10
I'm-
minutes anyway. We got about 10 minutes. It's okay.
All right, cool. As to who I think is going to be the bigger, okay, let me ask. There's two different ways this can go. What is the general question here that you're asking? Who's going to be better in AEW, or who's like, am I more excited from?
Who's more impactful? Who will be the more impact a year from now? Who will have made a more bigger impact on the company?
We can talk about it after this one. That's fine.
Short term,
Let me just finish this.
short term, Matt Hardy, because he's going to get fans that know him right away.
Right.
Long term, Brodie Lee. Because
I
here's the thing. He's going to be great in ring. He's going to help get this Dark Order thing, I don't know. I'm not going to say going because it's already been going. So what I'm saying is, my thought process is, I think long term, the more impactful is going to be Brodie because his in-ring work is going to outshine any shit gimmick they give him. So I'm going to say that my more impactful over the long term will be Brodie Lee. But I think right now, depending on how they go with Matt, I think he's going to get more eyes on the product. But I just hope he isn't that guy that's going to become the Kurt Hennig of AEW, where he turns on the Elite. And, like, I'm not going to say he joins the Inner Circle, but he, like, does, like, some, like, 180 and becomes, like, this heel to feud with Cody because, you know, Cody needs another heel to feud with. Like, I need another pair of Nike or another big
There's enough fucking heels going against. Yeah, thank you.
That's just my thought.
Not with you, 100%.
I think, like you were saying, like I do think Brodie Lee has the potential to be a bigger star long term, but I think he's about 2 gimmicks away from, like, whether or not he gets there, because I really think that the Dark Order gimmick is going to hurt him, and I really think he's going to have to, like, recover from it, which is sad to say.
I will say as much about Dark Order though, is that they've gotten a lot more positive returns in the last couple of weeks as opposed to where they were at the end of 2019.
I'll say this. I don't know if they needed Brodie Lee to be the Exalted One. Evil Uno's good on the mic, as you could tell from his introduction on Wednesday night's show.
Correct.
So it's almost like, is this more of like them saying we want Brodie Lee to have this like gimmick, or are they saying that we don't trust Uno and Dos to be good enough on their own?
Well, so here's the funny part, right?
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, and it sort of feels like at a certain point when they started all of this and Uno was on the mic and everything, that there was this sort of belief behind Uno that you do sort of feel like is gone now, and they're just like, oh, okay, he couldn't cut it, so let's give it to someone else. But at the same time, they've been talking about an Exalted One for almost the entire time they've been doing this gimmick, so I think this was probably always part of the plan. But
I'm not saying
really
it wasn't part of the plan. I'm saying I don't know if they had faith in Uno and Dos from the beginning.
I'm sure they probably did it, and it's not working. It doesn't work. I don't think it's gotten better, honestly. Not at this point.
I mean, it really couldn't get worse.
That's the thing. I'm still not really into the Dark Order thing necessarily either. But I will say it's at least it's shown some direction in the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months. Actually, to be honest with you, we'll get into that's just the end point. You know who this leader is, and now we got the leader, obviously Brodie Lee. But now where it goes, I don't know.
That's the thing. Like honestly, like how fun is Brodie Lee gonna be doing these lame ass like I don't know, it's just gonna be lame to me. I just feel like I feel like he has so much more potential than what this is gonna let him show.
What sucks for me personally is that I only saw Luke Harper when he came back at SummerSlam he came back last year?
Something like that.
Yeah. And he was here for like maybe another 2 months and he was gone again. I had never really seen much of him other than like snippets of him in 2014 with Bray Wyatt and whatnot. That's about it. I haven't seen much of.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know,
I feel like there's two different kinds of signings and two different kinds of even like from WWE recent star signings. There's the guys who you can exploit as being big stars and put them in those roles like Matt Hardy, because Matt Hardy was literally on Raw 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You know, you can have that is your moment to be like, oh my god, what is this guy who was on WWE 2 weeks ago doing here? That doesn't work as well when the guy hasn't been on TV in 6 months.
No, right. The Brodie Lee reveal is really for the hardcore fan, like you guys, and myself, that know who he is. The mainstream people don't get it. That's why Matt Hardy's, debut was impactful because he was the last guy on the show. Obviously, the TV showed that he was the very last image you see on Dynamite on Wednesday. But what Mike said, I totally agree with 100%. Short term, Matt Hardy because of the name value. But long term, like everything with the Dark Order we don't like, is it possible Brodie Lee fixes that? The perception. That's the thing.
No. I don't think so.
You don't think so? Mike, I don't
think
does.
anything can save that. To be fair.
Well, okay, right. I don't know necessarily like that. Why we're talking like it needs to be saved. I think he's going to do well in that gimmick. I think he's going to strive in that gimmick, and I don't think that there's anything that's necessarily that's going to make it better or worse. Because at the end of the day, it took how much of people like being just shitting all over Brandy Rhodes to kill the Nightmare Collective.
Right.
So if they really want this to work, they're gonna use it till the tires fall off. And I just feel like it's not gonna really matter because I feel like they're gonna use this gimmick no matter what. And I think I would say that fucking you have to believe that Brodie's gonna do his best to save the gimmick. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with Mike 100% on that one. You got what? 3 minutes of this topic?
I really don't have any more to add.
Okay, I'm good. If you guys want to go to the next one, we can do so.
Tally ho, Patsy, let's go.
Okay. Next, who's up next? Mike or Joe?
Okay. Honor system, rock paper scissors. You for it?
All right.
Ready?
That's a new thing now.
Scissors, shoot.
All right. What do you throw?
Scissors.
I threw paper. All right, you go.
All right. My topic for this week's lovely discussion, due to the coronavirus outbreak, we have decided that WrestleMania is going to be a 2-night epidemic. Thank you, Wrestle Kingdom. So, with that being said, multiple locations is what's being reported right now. PW Insiders, Mike Johnson said earlier Saturday that Friday Night SmackDown for the 27th and the 3rd were being filmed. Sunday the 22nd, which is today, NXT content was going to be filmed. Monday and Tuesday were going to be a live Raw, and then the Monday Night Raw for March 30th. And then Wednesday and Thursday was going to be the WrestleMania Nights 1 and Night 2 taping. Now, with that being said...
Which means they're filming the night after WrestleMania before WrestleMania.
Yes, that's great. I love it. My thing, now, Johnson also added that WWE is also scheduled to tape material for WrestleMania at other closed sets. Likelihood like Stanford, Titan Towers possibly, stuff like that. That being said, the 2 nights are going to be big. We've never had this happen before. So my topic that I want to discuss is what gets put on night 1, what gets put on night 2, and necessarily the bigger question here is what are the 2 main events?
That's interesting.
I like it.
Well, should we go first, Mike, or you want to go first on that one?
I'll let you guys go first.
Okay, I'll go quickly. the main events definitely McIntyre and Brock should be definitely one of the main events. Obviously, I would probably put that one on night number 1, and I would probably put the Goldberg Roman Reigns match on night 2. What were you saying too? Also,
I was just saying, what matches would you say necessarily you would put on night 1, and then which ones would you put on night 2? But more importantly, what would your 2 main events be?
Okay, so the main events obviously will be the title matches. I think Edge and Orton should be on night 2 as well. Let that build to the end as much as possible. What else do we have match-wise that's confirmed? Taker and AJ should be night 1. Cena and Fiend should be night 2. Let me see. Actually, you know what? No, hold on. That's actually a good point. That's tough actually because like I don't know of those matches, which is probably the least like you're looking forward to least. I would say AJ and Taker, right?
The SmackDown Women's Title match.
No. Of the bunch you're saying here, the bunch you're talking about now, between Taker.
I was just being smart. You said what match was I least looking forward?
Oh yeah, okay. Wait, what? I meant this bunch here. I'm going backwards. I'm working backwards right now. So obviously you have Fiend, Cena, Goldberg and Reigns, Brock, McIntyre, AJ, and Taker.
I just want to put it out there. I feel like Mike's reaction to the women's title match on SmackDown, like Naomi is sitting in her house somewhere right now. She just got a shiver from the shade that Mike just threw.
Why is it Naomi that you're talking about? Why can't it be like Lacey Evans or Dana Brooke or Tamina?
I mean, I feel like Naomi's just more tied into the shade.
That's true. I feel that one.
It's like a Jedi thing.
So right now, the SmackDown is what? It's Sasha versus Bayley versus who now?
Lacey, Dana, Tamina, and Naomi.
Basically every woman on SmackDown.
Correct.
Stupid. I hate it.
All right. I
Joe
got
Lopez.
this.
Go ahead,
I got this. All right. I'm going to make this real easy, right?
Ooh, I like
You got 2 nights. You got 2 brands. They haven't made any indication of involving NXT in this, other than the NXT Women's title, which has a Raw woman in the match. I think you just split it 50-50. Night 1, you make Raw. Night 2, you make SmackDown. I might reverse those, actually. I might do Night 1, SmackDown, Night 2, Raw. And the reason I would do that is because I think you end the weekend with Drew McIntyre winning the title. Although, no. You know what? No, okay. I'm going to change it. I'm going to tell you what the Raw main event is going to be. And I don't need to tell you which matches are on which show, because obviously you know which matches are Raw matches and which matches are SmackDown matches, right?
Yeah.
A yes from the audience? Okay.
Right.
So, here's my thing, right? I think that you end the Raw show with Edge and Randy Orton. I think that's a big enough match, specifically under these situations. Like, if this WrestleMania was happening in Tampa in front of 70,000 people, you don't end with Edge and Randy Orton. But in this situation, it's not like the end of the night needs to be Drew McIntyre holding up the world title for nobody to see. Like that's not going to be like the lasting image that you necessarily need. You can have another match be that main event, and Edge and Randy Orton's a pretty big deal. Edge being back in his first singles match in 11 years or 9 years or however long it is. That's kind of a big deal. So I think you can end with that. And I think I still think there's the potential where Brock doesn't even need to lose the title if he ends up winning by some like shady circumstances, so that you can lead to, hopefully by SummerSlam we're all allowed outdoors again, and you can actually have Drew win the title in front of an audience. I think that would be really cool personally, but I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go in. But that is how I would end Raw's night. And I think SmackDown's night, I do think you just end with Goldberg and Reigns. And I guess you put the title on Reigns, but again, like, I feel like some of these things, like, you might as well just keep the titles on the champions as they are now, because it's a lot more exciting to see people win titles than it is see them retain them at, like, SummerSlam or whatever, which is probably going to, if we all make it out of hibernation, if this Russian winter ends, and we're all allowed back outside, and hopefully SummerSlam will be this huge event. And I don't know, like, it'll be a lot more fun at SummerSlam to see Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar for the world title than it will be Drew McIntyre retaining the world title against Brock Lesnar. So that's the direction that I would go in. And honestly, like, in that case, even, you know what? I'll even make that change for night one for SmackDown. I'm putting Cena and The Fiend as my main event. Because I'd have Goldberg retain the world title earlier in the night. I don't think you put that as the main event. That is what I would do. That is what would be done. I also would have made this whole thing a telethon, though, so what the fuck do I know?
Joe, you're nuts.
He's not lying.
All right, Mikey, go ahead.
All right, so we've talked about my thought process on some things on this show before, and we're going to dive into it a little bit more and out of the brain of one Miguel Benoit, America's only Spanish Frenchman. Night one of the WrestleMania shindig.
Wait. You need to end that with, instead of saying Olay, you need to say hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres.
There you go. Okay.
All right. So if this was being recorded, or if this was being shown live, I feel like this would go different because
Yes.
Brock Lesnar probably doesn't want to be in Orlando as long as he really needs to lose the title to Drew McIntyre in a show where there's no fans. So the fact this is being taped makes my decisions a little bit different and a little bit more, I guess, confusing because they can film this in any order they want and then splice it together. Whatever. Night one, I believe I would start with a title match. I would start with Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. I would get that one fresh off in the kitchen, get it going, fucking fire it off. Good match to start the show. Gets everybody fired up for the weekend. I would then go with the KO Seth Rollins match. I would use the SmackDown Tag Titles match between The Miz and John Morrison versus either the New Day or the Usos. And then I would go AJ Styles and The Undertaker. Have maybe one more match, maybe a Heavy Machinery versus Ziggler and Rude, where they determine who it was that sent Otis the text message. And then I would close night one with Goldberg versus Roman Reigns. Night two, I would start the show with the SmackDown Women's title match because there.
Reverse last year.
It's there.
There.
I would then go Cena Wyatt. I would then go to probably a filler or some fun stuff. Maybe a Rob Gronkowski wins the 24/7 title.
Saw a thought in that one, buddy.
Asuka and Kairi Sane versus somebody for the women's tag title is a spot I could take here. I would then probably do the U.S. title clusterfuck of doom. I'd probably then use the Intercontinental clusterfuck of doom in night one. My co-main event would be Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. I may do a filler match, and then I would go to Drew McIntyre winning the title against Brock Lesnar to close the show. So the guy that they've been pushing for the last 4 months gets his just due of winning the title at WrestleMania. Now, I can see WWE fucking this all up because, like Joe said, there's no fans there. Why give away fucking good stuff?
I want to throw a sort of fantasy booking thing out there, which is thinking of / kind of hoping that I'd be cool if this happened. Because look, here's the thing, right? Having no live audience means you actually have zero to mitigate in terms of an audience shitting all over something you do. Like, yes, once it actually comes out, can people shit all over it on Twitter and stuff like that?
Yeah, Twitter would be a way to gauge the audience on Twitter, that's it.
Right, and I think the truth is people are going to shit all over something that you do on Twitter anyway.
Exactly.
Like, you can have the greatest show and give everyone exactly what they want, and they still find something to shit on.
You could put Steamboat and Savage on there, and they'll flush shit on that too, just cause.
Right, exactly. So I mean, I think that's the interesting thing here, though, is you have an opportunity to book stuff where normally if you did this to a live crowd, they would riot, but you don't have a live crowd to worry about that happening to. So here's what I would say. I think whatever night that the Drew McIntyre and Brock Lesnar match is scheduled for, you have Paul Heyman come out. You have him be like, look, it says here in the contract that my client's defending the world title in a stadium surrounded by 70,000 fans. We don't do this empty stadium shit. I'm sorry, but you'll get your title match when we can be in front of 70,000 fans. And he leaves. And that's it. Because you know what? Brock's not having a match in front of nobody. And you know what? Drew's moment deserves to be in front of an audience. That's what I would do. I hope that's what happens.
Wow.
And you're not stealing it from an audience and a live crowd like that. You couldn't do that at the real WrestleMania. You could do it now. This is the only time in history you can do that.
I do think the reason why I would probably co-sign what you just said there, Joe, is that you said 2 weeks ago, and if some of the stuff shifts with the prognosis of the virus, if there's a chance that they can probably do a swerve last minute, Vince will do this if necessary. I can see that happening depending on the environment of this virus. If in a week and a half the prognosis is a lot more positive or whatever it may be, and where they could probably do a live show where they could probably end up making the change of titles, whatever, down the road, they would do it.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, like you don't have 2 weeks because they're filming all this stuff this coming week.
That's true.
So they got to make
true.
these decisions now. And look, let's be real. We can all be optimistic if we want, but like we're not this is going to be our real world for at least another 30 days, if not much longer. So like they might as well settle in the way they are settling in. But this isn't going to be forever. Hopefully by summer, hopefully by SummerSlam, we could have these big arena shows.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it, honestly, if everything gets back to normal and they move SummerSlam from wherever it is in Boston to where the Patriots play or something. Do it up. Do it like it's WrestleMania.
That'd be one of the biggest SummerSlams in history. Probably the biggest SummerSlam ever.
No, wrong.
Which one would be bigger than that?
Wembley Stadium, yeah.
True. Yeah, a good point.
I don't know. That was
okay, U.S. soil, SummerSlam.
Sure, I guess if you want to get technical. You said biggest of all time, so
right. That's true.
Okay, so now my thought process here. Now, what I would say is, I love Joe's thought about the Paul Heyman, screw this, we're not doing it. Because I think that's epic. But what I would say that their issue is, long term, I think they've backed themselves into a corner no matter what they decide to do. Because they've let Brock Lesnar get away with murder for the last 4 years.
Right.
So they're really kind of screwed on the aspect of who he loses to and how he loses and protecting him as severe as they have. So I get Joe's either he could win the title or he could just I'm not wrestling. I'm not doing it. But what I want to see on this, if we're doing a super fantasy booking, I want to see the NXT title defended.
I love that.
You mean the men's NXT? Okay, right.
Wow, really?
No, let me make sure. Because no.
Dude. No, you know what? I want the NXT World Tag Team Championships defended, not the world title.
Are we? I haven't seen NXT last week, so are we still heading for Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream?
I believe so.
And I think we're headed towards Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa.
I'll say this, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, but I guess it might come across as offensive. I feel like Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream is more fitting as a mid-card WrestleMania match than it is as the main event of the TakeOver.
And why do you feel that way?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like the main event match to me, but it feels like a worthwhile NXT title match. And I guess truth be told, even if they had done it on TakeOver, it not necessarily would have been the main event because Ciampa and Gargano probably would have been.
Interesting take.
As it should be, because Gargano and Ciampa is the fucking thing.
It's time.
Which in a way is kind of funny too, because in a sort of way, I don't know that I want to see Gargano and Ciampa on Mania because I don't want to see a 10-minute version of their match that that they can have.
So
with it being split over 2 nights, does this mean there's the possibility for people getting longer matches.
You would think, right?
Or throw into NXT matches on there, like you said. Throw some of the big matches of TakeOver onto the Mania card. I don't know. That's what I would do. Get rid of the trash and then fucking put in the main three biggest angles on NXT onto the Mania card either night.
Yeah, no, that would make sense to me, but it doesn't sound like they're doing that yet. But I don't know. I mean, you would have had yourself a ladder match then. That's always fun in front of no people.
Of course. Alrighty.
Every ladder match I've ever had has been in front of no people. I'm just saying.
Honestly,
I'm undefeated in ladder matches. I hope you guys know that.
Oh, can I just say two observations that I've had from watching WWE TV this week. Number one, 205 Live is not at all weird to watch with no audience because no audience ever reacted to anything on 205 Live anyway. So it just feels like watching 205 Live. And number two, I'm pretty sure the reason why the AEW show and the 205 Live and even Bryan and Cesaro on SmackDown, why those guys are having the most success doing these no audience shows is because they all wrestled on the independent scene, where frankly you had some no audience shows. I've been at an Evolve show where I was one of 70 people in the audience, and Bryan Danielson and Bobby Fish was the main event. So
interesting.
It's just not that different. So
can we before we move on? And I know this is sound really weird. Daniel Bryan as catch point light with Drew Gulak
is amazing.
That might be the greatest thing of all time.
Yes. I'm with you.
I want them to do the catch point handshake. That'll just make it 100% official.
And they'll get there.
Excellent.
Alrighty.
I saw they might add Chad Gable to that little faction. Could this be what was that whenever they were trying to do it in WWE? The Mat Wrestling team. They were what the fuck? There was a group. It was before Gable
Sylvester Terkay and Elijah Burke.
No, not that bad. Not that bad.
Which one?
Oh, okay.
Is that the timer?
No. That's I was setting something real quick, but it's time though. I guess Joe's next, right?
Yes.
All right, bring us home, buddy.
All right, so I'm hoping for this one to be a fun one because we all need it right now, right? Yeah. All right, so there's a lot of things in wrestling that we as wrestling fans have heard people talk about a million bazillion times, right? You've heard everyone have some sort of take about the Montreal Screwjob. You've heard everyone have some sort of take about Katie Vick, all this stuff. And they all kind of agree with each other. They're all kind of this was shit. And okay, it was. There's no denying that. We all have eyes. We've all witnessed this. Nobody can actually justify Mae Young giving birth to a hand. Nobody can justify Mae Young being in a relationship with Mark Henry. Let's be real. But, pardon me, the thing is, I think it's really easy at this point to just say, oh yeah, this sucked, blah, 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 because we all agree on that. We all know that. So instead, I would like us, the public defenders of the Take 3 Wrestling Podcast, to take on whatever client you would like in the bad wrestling department, and name a bad wrestler, a bad angle, whatever, and I want you to defend it. I want you to tell me why this angle or this wrestler is actually the fucking bomb.com, and why everyone needs to just go eat a shit sandwich because they're wrong.
You didn't say that. It's bomb.com. What year are we in, buddy?
He said it. Trust me, he said it.
Jesus. All right. Who wants to go first this one?
Not me.
Not me. I'm going last.
You wasn't gonna go last, but I'll go first. Okay. Okay. So I have one of each. I have one for angle and one for one wrestler.
Sure.
So the angle, and it's funny because I'm not sure if it gets shit on as much now, but back then it did, in the moment. Now I'm not reading dirt sheets. It's people who I talked to back in the time. The Ministry of Darkness angle, with Austin, and then of course with the kidnapping Stephanie and the crucifixion and all that, the evil Undertaker. Nobody liked it, and I'm talking in real time, not in hindsight, in real time.
Speak for yourself.
I loved it.
No, well, I didn't know you guys before, obviously. So I was 19 years old, and he was like, "Oh, this is shitty. Taker's this is evil."
No, I loved it so much.
In
Damn.
in hindsight, I do like it a lot. But other people just did shit on it a lot, and I thought it was actually creative. But again, that was the era too. I guess Vince was going for everything. Vince was going for the throat. Which means Mae Young giving birth, so be it. It is what it is. So I mean, hindsight now, obviously, I think people appreciate it now because that's another evolution of the Undertaker character. Because we go from Ministry of Darkness to keep rolling. Like, come on, dude. Which I hate, by the way. Fucking hate
Don't
that.
hate on fucking Undertaker.
I hate that shit. I like Big Evil because Big Evil was a little bit of a combination of the two. But
I should sarcastically defend keep rolling Undertaker just as fucking.
Oh my
god. The wrestler I'm gonna defend here, and I it's funny, like people did shit on him too because it was very corny back in '89, but it's really his fault is why it was shitty. The Red Rooster.
Oh. God.
Okay,
He
I
was
gotta
good.
hear
He
this.
was
okay.
good. Okay, so he was good in the ring. Okay.
Said
And
no one ever.
He was good in the ring though. He was good in the ring. He was good in the ring though. Terry
And now,
Taylor.
mind you, I believe there is an alternate universe somewhere where Terry Taylor became Ric Flair, and right now, Triple H is pushing fucking Terry Taylor's daughter on Raw, and she's about to marry La Sombra.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. La Sombra.
Look, I always thought the character was corny, but you look in hindsight, okay, it's corny, but. He hated on. What was it? Pritchard said on this podcast. If Terry Taylor actually embraced the character, he probably could have gotten more out of it.
See, that's what you think. You think that if he had embraced it could have been a star.
There's probably some truth to that, though. But yeah, it's still a shitty character. I ain't gonna lie. But he was not bad in the ring. If he embraced it, maybe people. But look, Dusty Rhodes, one of the greatest talents in the history of wrestling, in the same era, was wearing fucking polka dots. A fat man wearing polka dots.
Don't hate on the common man.
No, but the polka dots. Come on, dude.
But if Dusty Rhodes hadn't already been Dusty Rhodes, would he have gotten over for the first time in polka dots?
Probably not.
Because I hated him. When I was a WWF fan and all I knew was WWF and he showed up, I was just like, who's this fat guy?
American Dream and Sapphire and all that. I
was so good on all that.
Yeah, I was me too. I didn't like you back then. But yeah, whatever.
So
Red Rooster as Red Rooster as wrestler and what did I say? Ministry of Darkness.
Red Rooster is a good pick. All right, Mike, your turn.
All right, angle that I'm going to defend is one that is going to be very controversial, and I'd like to preface this before starting that I do not agree with some of the things that were done during said angle, but I've been given this daunting task to defend why I believe that this angle, if given the long-term movement that it was going, could have been successful, and that is Muhammad Hassan.
Oh, okay.
A Italian guy that they decided to make Iraqi guy. Slow build from Muhammad Hassan was really, really good. He worked his way through the lower mid-card, rolling through guys like Chris Masters, and other people like that. So I've loved the fact that that he was being built up the right way.
Yeah.
So I think that it was awesome. I love the fact that they were transitioning a rising star to somebody like The Undertaker to really see what they could get from him, because Taker was the measuring stick still at this time. If you could go in the ring with Taker, you could go.
Right.
So I love the fact that they were going to give him that push, and then WWE decided to do something really stupid and run we're going to choke him with wires the day of the London attack.
Right.
No wrongdoing of Hassan.
No
wrongdoing of any of the active participants in the situation.
Yeah.
But 100% a terrible thing for WWE to show.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So they shot themselves in the foot here with this gimmick. The next show is Great American Bash. He gets lash rided through the grate, and he's dead.
He was a decent wrestler, too. He wasn't the greatest, but you could tell he had, potential. You know what I mean? Like he was getting there.
Yeah, he really what his upside was so high that
Yes.
like it looked like he was going to be a big piece that they were going to use for this foreseeable future. Like he was going to be a hard piece of their main event package for the middle parts of the 2010s into almost probably like right around now still to an extent. He was still on the younger side. And then all of a sudden WWE decided to do something stupid and punted it all away.
Right.
Again, I love Hassan. Like, I like the character. I think he was what you needed as a heel back then because no matter who he wrestled, he was getting booed.
Yes.
So if you needed somebody to get cheered, you had them face him.
I'm with you. I totally agree with you. I was really disappointed when he ended up kind of going nowhere.
Yeah. As for wrestlers, and again, this one's going to be more like a comical one, so please stick with me here.
God.
Duke the Dumpster Drose.
Okay.
Because he was a common man just working a 9-to-5 job and beating people up in the ring on his off time. It's like going to a bar without getting arrested.
It's Fight Club.
Exactly. Duke. Sorry, that one was just one that I felt like if I didn't mention Duke the Dumpster, that I would be doing a disservice to every person of the Drase Passe.
I'm dying here, Joe's.
All right. So mine is kind of a combo. It's wrestlers, it's angle. I'm going to defend this, right? And this is kind of the thing that made me think of this whole thing. Because I was on Reddit the other day because, the world has stopped and there's nothing better to do but read posts on Reddit. And someone had a thing up about this angle, and I was reading it, and I was like, oh, ha, 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 everybody shit on it like normal, kind of lame. And I was like, it'd be really fun to see someone try to defend this instead. So here's what I'm going to defend, right? Fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon. All right?
Really?
I'm going to tell you something.
Good Lord.
This could have worked, and this could have been huge. All they did was handle it completely incorrectly. Because here's the thing, right? And I've been thinking about it, right? They come out and you have Jim Ross and you try making him a heel and you've already kind of shot yourself in the pants. And you have him bring these people out and you're admitting right from the start, these are not the guys, this is not the guys that you know as these guys. Like you're saying it right out. You're saying, okay, look, we know these aren't the right guys, but too bad, fuck you, these are the guys you're going to deal with. I don't think you do it like that because you know what? When they replaced the aunt on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, there wasn't an episode where, like, the first 5 minutes where Uncle Phil being like, just so you guys know, we've replaced the aunt on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like, that didn't happen. They just fucking had a new aunt. Like, it was just all of a sudden one episode she was, like, lighter skinned and nobody asked questions. I think that's how you do this. I think you just roll Razor Ramon and Diesel in their fake forms just in, and y'all just act like they are the exact same people, and you pretend if anyone's like they look different, you'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like you still call Diesel a like one-time former champion and all of that stuff. I think that's good. And you know what? Like, yes, they weren't the greatest wrestlers, but let's be real here, okay? Kevin Nash wasn't exactly out there Kento Kobashiing his way through 5-star matches. And Scott Hall, I guess he was okay. If you gave him a ladder, he kind of had a decent match 9 times out of 10. The rest of the time, he was drunk. So, like, let's not act like we were replacing the world's greatest wrestlers here. I think they could have done it. I think it would have worked. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, maybe in Neeson Diesel's cases, but go ahead.
I'm good. I'm done.
That's it? That's it too?
That is it. I mean, to me, it's just one badass thing.
Mike, go ahead, man. We can respond to this one.
I don't disagree.
Thank you.
I think they were stupid for trying to be like, this is fake Diesel and fake Razor.
Right.
The angle what you're using I think is actually decent. The angle you're using to defend it, I won't lie.
But my issue is, and this may not be an issue to some, that big if, that the thought process here was let's use this. They put Scott Hall in the Hall of Fame as Razor Ramon, not as Scott Hall. They put the gimmick into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So why isn't it that they couldn't get another person over using the same gimmick?
They totally could have. They've tried to. They called him Carlito the second time.
Exactly. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool.
Yeah. They were like, "Oh, toothpicks are so cliche. Here's an apple." Like,
And then he went rogue.
yeah, no. He went more rogue than Scott Hall ever did. Let's be real.
I do like it though, Joe. Overall, the argument actually makes it a lot more appealing. So, and plus, as I said for years, I think Kevin Nash is the most overrated superstar in the history of the business. This is my
Oh my
opinion.
God, Mike and I are actively rewatching the decade that was. While we all have all this extra time on our hands, and we're in 2011, and I swear to you, Kevin Nash showed up at the end of a match to attack CM Punk, and I'm honestly, even knowing it was in 2011, I still was just like, but Kevin Nash is so old. What are you doing here?
Right. No, I actually watched Mania 11. The main event actually was LT and Bam Bam, but the HBK Nash match when Nash won, Diesel, and again, HBK. I mean, look, he's done this for his entire career, obviously, but he carried that match, dude. Oh my God.
Of course he did.
Jeez.
In other news, water is wet, ice is cold.
I'm glad you guys are disagreeing with that, because I say that people are like, oh no, Diesel's awesome, Big Daddy cool. Fuck off. He's not.
Can
no.
you guys do the truck sound? I can't do the truck sound. I just sound like
I'm glad to rock. No.
No, see, I just
That was
like,
good.
that's a duck. I'm just an angry duck.
Henry Duck. I'm sorry. I wish Brett would have kept that title, man. Why give it to him? I know fucking Vince, dude. Big guy. He's a big guy. Looks good. Fucking guy.
Or it was because Bret Hart was like one of the most worthless champions in WWE history.
Oh no, we're doing.
It's a whole other
Wait. We're doing that again. We're doing that, Mikey. We're doing that now, huh?
What?
2 weeks in a row.
I
That's not Bret Hart.
I said it last week. I don't think that he'd even be remembered as champion if it wasn't for the Montreal Screwjob.
I mean, I'm not saying Joe's definitely not wrong.
Well, the argument with me last week actually is not off the beaten path. So just saying. Anyway, all right.
I think next week my topic is going to be what disgusting sexual position would you want to partake with Bret Hart? And I'm calling dibs on the California Steamroller. So the rest of you guys are going to have to just pick something else.
All right, and there's time.
Most valuable players of the league.
Most valuable player. All right, MVP.
Montel Bontavious Porter.
That's right. Mike, you go first for once.
How the fuck do I have to go first?
You never go first.
I'm probably not paying attention half the
Cause
time.
I stole your answer last week too. Remember?
You didn't really, but whatever.
You know what I mean.
I was going to say if you guys didn't pick Triple H, I was going to pick Triple H. That was the only reason why I said Triple H. Yeah, my MVP for this week in professional wrestling will go to none other than...
Boop. Boop.
I'm going to go The Undertaker because he got to the ring in under like 4.8 seconds.
Yeah, what's my fucking choice?
Well, he didn't have to make the slow walk. There was no fans in there to admire his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell too, like he totally was just like, I'm not putting on all that shit. There ain't nobody here. Like,
Exactly.
You want my MVP?
Yeah.
All right. The most entertaining part of AEW this week was Sammy, the sex god, Guerrera.
Well,
I don't even care if I'm mispronouncing
Lord.
his last name. Sammy
Guevara.
punish me. There you go. Sammy, make me pay.
Mr. Out of Key.
Him singing along
Out of
to
Key.
Jericho's theme, which honestly, for the record, I'm getting on board with Jericho's theme as actually being a really good theme. I'm getting on board with that. But, yeah, no, that was everything. Sammy, call me. You won't regret it.
My MVP this week is actually the entire AEW Dynamite cast from this past Wednesday. What a show.
wow,
What
why
a show.
are you going to take a bailout like that?
Because I did last week. I'll do it again.
So,
Well, hey, wait. Hold on, Mike. That ain't right. Because Joe last week picked pick the entire SmackDown cast. I was great last week. You didn't even bat an eye when Joe said it last week. I'm saying the entire. Okay, fine, Mike. Tony Khan, you happy?
No, because he canceled Blood and Guts. He's an asshole. Why are you gonna give this date? I'm sorry. You have a chance to crush the ratings war and crush souls. And what do? You take your biggest television match, that you could have in your company, with the exception of a world title match, and you decide that we're gonna wait till we have fans in the stands. But why? Why can't you just have the match now?
They did crush this week though. They had nearly 1 million. They closed in 1 million. Not quite 1 million yet, though. They closed it in.
All I'm saying is, if you want to use Tony Khan, give Tony Khan shit, because Tony Khan decided that we want to wait until we have fans in the stands so that we can have Cody bleed for the 735th time on an AEW show.
I'll say one thing. The only excuse that I can think of that maybe they don't want to say publicly is maybe some of the wrestlers don't want to actually wrestle during this, which honestly, look, you can be in an arena with people and cutting a promo if there's only 4 of you in the ring, and probably not catch anything if God forbid one of you has it. If you're sweating on top of each other, you kind of 3 types of fucked. So it could be that. Maybe Matt Jackson is just look, I like you, Pride and Powerful, but I don't sweat on me during coronavirus season like you. So just putting that out there. And maybe Tony Khan wants to not make any of the wrestlers and be oh, it's his fault. So maybe he's just being look, I'll take the bullet. I decided that we're not doing it yet.
Well, the other question that I guess now is, because one of the Young Bucks was out indefinitely with an injury. Right. He's obviously going to be back if this event happens 6 months from now. So then what do you do? Who do you take out of the match? Do you take Matt Hardy out of the match?
I don't know. I guess they'll figure that out when they need to. I mean,
I don't know. I feel like that. The show, everyone's telling them the show must go on, and we're having these live shows with no fans, and they're taping them however far in advance, et cetera, et cetera.
I will say, I will say something, and back on Mike's point real quick before we go, is that if the WWE could do WrestleMania, the biggest wrestling show in the history of fucking all wrestling, in the same situation, you can do Blood and Guts on TV.
But what I'm saying is, it's the equivalent of when the wrestlers don't want to go to Saudi Arabia. If any of the wrestlers right now in either company says, look, I don't feel comfortable wrestling a match, even if it's in front of no audience, because I'm still putting my health at risk by being in that close contact with somebody, you can't blame them for that right now, and no company should punish them for that right now. It's the same thing as when, it's the same thing as when Daniel Bryan says, I don't want to get on a plane and go to Saudi Arabia because I don't agree with their politics. And also, too, I like having a head attached to the rest of my body. You know what I mean? It's literally the same situation. So, I mean, to me, like I said, I could see it being that maybe some of the guys in that match, who haven't wrestled on TV recently or anything, I mean, by recently, I mean, this past week during the, when there was no fans and everything. So, that could be an indication that some of these guys don't necessarily want to wrestle. They don't want to take that extra risk. And, I mean, Tony Khan, I think, even at one point said, hey, anyone who doesn't want to be involved in the shows during this time, you're not going to lose your place in the company. You're not going to lose your spot. Just let me, it's totally respectable. And honestly, that is the way you have to handle situations like this right now.
Well, good point. Anyway, on that note, fellas, we go. Plug your podcast.
We have a awesome wrestling podcast that is a little bit different format. It is just myself and Joe Lopez talking about some things. That is the Name Subject to Change podcast. We have not recorded any episodes of the Super Crazy Sports Spectacular due to there not being a lot of sports.
Slacker.
There are no sports going on. Damn sports that's going on.
I mean, NFL free agency is going on, but aside from Tom Brady not playing in New England anymore, there really isn't a ton going on there either right now, because a lot of the guys are just kind of in holding patterns because of physicals and all this other stuff. So I'm kind of waiting to see what goes on there. And then, so look out for an episode later this week. Me and Joe are going to talk about the year that was 2011 WWE pay-per-views. It includes a really, really good CM Punk John Cena match at Money in the Bank.
And SummerSlam.
And it includes some really, really bad matches, like, I don't know, anything involving, who was it that we were talking about? We literally had this conversation earlier.
I mean, there were so many.
Oh, the entire Night of Champions pay-per-view, that was absolutely god-awful.
Yeah.
We still have, 4 matches to get through.
Yeah, we should go do that.
Yeah, so we're going to go do that. So you guys listen for that episode. That's it. That's all I got.
All right, follow Mike on Twitter, of course, at They Call Me Burn, BERN, as I said. Joe doesn't have a Twitter, so too bad. I'm on Twitter, of course, at Eastern7. Check out the Earthquake Podcast as well. We're trying to record as much as I can while we're quarantined here in our homes. Oh, guys, when you get off the call, check out your Instagram, too. I tagged you in something real quick. It's really funny.
All right.
Okay? Fellas, stay safe, and, that's the safe. That's it.
Booyah, bitches!
Don't eat all your food, either.
Mazel.
Malta.
I can't promise that.
Oh, I know. I gained 10 pounds already this week. Later, guys.